Hey, it's Nolan, your security friend from the woods. A lot's happened. It's the reason I was so busy for what seemed like an entire damn week. And even today sorting out some of the things. So for that reason, I'm gonna try and get through this. It would have been pretty handy if this didn't get removed for a title, but hey, what are you gonna do? You might ask what happened, or why you're busy. But just trust me when I say by tomorrow, it should be cleared up. And you'll get a full picture of this, so sit tight. Some notes though. Again, thank you for the feedback. It's been helpful, and it's given me some insight over the past week or so. So let me take some time real quick to answer back. In regards to using fire torches, incendiary dragon's breath round, things like that. After recent events, which you'll soon find out, it's definitely an option I'm going to explore. Thank you. Some were curious about the crab-walking slender animal man thing. While, as I've said, I haven't seen him since, which has been about a week or so, I decided to look up the account that was posting by a search and rescue officer. Stunning, really. There's not a national park around here for tens of miles, or probably more. They seem really similar, albeit. The figure I saw had somewhat of a face, and said one in the story did not when described. I'll keep this noted though. Thank you. Due to the nature of the estate and the contract I signed, I cannot give out the location of the compound and the surrounding area, even if it has been a fun time with him knowing more than he tells me. But for the sake of clarity, I don't think some vague description of where this is at is all that bad. It's a heavily wooded area. The compound and the town are based in the general southeast corner of Missouri. That's all I can really tell. Okay, now that that's all clear, let's recall. And arguably the most eventful, near eventful, week of my life. So, you might remember Tim. Well, so did I. Theodore gave me another one of his brushed off excuses. Halloween decoration, insomnia. He definitely knows more than he's letting on. I mean, he totally fucking does. Right? Then why lie? You want me to protect your house, then why not tell me what's really out there? Well, not just out there. You see, the morning I woke up, it was around 6. Due to how my body is wired, and my schedule, I sleep a healthy 5 hours a night. And just in the security room so I can be awoken if there's an alarm going off. Point is, I woke up. The house is dead fucking silent. And I'm gonna get myself an energy drink. No, I don't drink coffee. I never bothered to spend a week wasting batches to find the right blend. Anyway, sorry, I'm rambling again. The point is, the house is dead quiet, not unreasonable nor unexpected. What was unexpected was the fucking cold. You see, the house has one of those old chimney heater systems, a water boiler, but most of the shit Theodore has installed is mostly state-of-the-art electronic shit. Pretty power costly too, but it allows for the place to stay at a good room temperature 24/7, which is probably why I woke up. I thought it was fucking odd that it was 51 goddamn degrees. Outage? Nah, it shouldn't be. All of the electronics are still working fine. Even checked the security system too. No damage. No drippage. Nothing. Malfunction? Maybe, but if the electric goes, apparently the old heater and boiler are set up to take over. The point is, when I headed downstairs, head still waking up 20 minutes after, I was a little more than cautious. I brought my Beretta with me. Some info about the basement real quick. The main portion is a rectangular room, with a staircase splitting it down the middle. To the left, when you come down, storage. To the right, the heaters, boilers, and other machinery. I turned on the lights and came downstairs, and then I noticed something was all off. Everything. The boiler pilot light, the furnace was long cold, the electric generator connected to the heater was dead, not a breeze, not a drop of water. It creeped me the fuck out. But it wasn't like it was going to fix itself. But the second I knelt down and tried to start the boiler back on, I felt off. The entire basement went from feeling secure to feeling like I was in enemy territory. It didn't just feel like I was being watched. I felt hated. I felt fucking despised. So much that I even got up to look around to see if some naked crab-walking motherfucker was down there. But nothing. The boiler did spark back on, and I pulled the handle just to start it back up. One down. Then I sighed. The fucking furnace's wood was odd. I remember coming down there and checking last night. I even put some fresh logs in just in case. They weren't gone. They were charred and completely just stamped out. Even if they did need to start in the 5 or so hours of the possible outage, they shouldn't be this dead and this cold. That's when I saw something that made me draw my pistol and back against the concrete wall. It happened when my head just happened to gaze slightly to the right, just to my peripheral. I saw a pair of legs. When I got my back to the wall, ready to fight off whatever the fuck it was, suddenly, nothing. I know what you're gonna say. It's a ghost, dickhead. Get the fuck out. Keep in mind, I was pretty fucking tired, and I remember it being gray like the concrete walls around. So I gave myself the benefit of the doubt, tossed some logs in. Besides, if I keep drawing my pistol like Rambo, it's only a matter of time before I accidentally shoot Theodore or John. Finally, the goddamn electric generator. It's not like one of those shitty gas-operated ones you get at a Kmart. Bonus point to anyone who still remembers those. For like 25 bucks. It was at least 5 foot by 8 foot. The damn thing had a touchpad and a direct fucking cable to the underground grid. And, most importantly, a security lock that only I and Theodore knew. So it couldn't have been John, and it couldn't have been some fucker who broke in, let alone without tripping any of the alarms just to turn off the damn heat and clean water. Felt like I was being watched. I kept gazing around. No one was there. It wasn't just paranoia in the woods, despite of entertaining some inhabitants. I knew I wasn't alone, and I was being watched. Right now, I felt like a bear was about to tear out my ass. Regardless, I needed to figure out what happened with the generator. Luckily, the security room has more than just camera angles. The generator being hooked up to the grid and run on a network of the house means it's sort of like your iPhone. Every time the touchpad is accessed, and it leaves a file, for example, app, lock screen, info swipe, time, all that, down to the fucking second. I open up the access log for the generator. The time was listed at 3:17 a.m., around an hour and 45 minutes after I got some shut-eye. Someone accessed the pad, it typed in the correct code on the third try, and only Theodore and I know the code. I knew it wasn't me. I was fast asleep, locked away in the security room. Theodore, I don't think, had the time to turn it off just to have a quick laugh. So, whoever or whatever accessed the pad did so after multiple tries. Theodore was in his office looking as stupidly chipper as he possibly could for being awake at these ungodly early hours. Theodore. Good morning, Dwight. Tim visit you in your dreams? He jested. God, no, thankfully. Theodore, the heating went off last night. And the boiler. And the furnace. All of it? Was it an outage? No, everything shows that not a damn second went by where the main electric was shut down. Just the side generator controlling the downstairs well, clean water, and heat. He pondered this for a moment. And also I should note that not a minute goes by where Theodore never looks, well, unpleasant. Unpositive. He's always got that same kind of smirk that Steve Jobs had when he tells a bunch of Malaysian kids to go make his iPhones. Was it a chip malfunction? Couldn't be. Someone, or something, accessed the touchpad and deactivated it. Took a few tries too. Well, it wasn't John, he's a good kid. Also, he doesn't know the passcode. And I'm sure he doesn't want to be sleeping in the ice-cold air of the forest. Well, he paused before snapping his fingers. Tried the camera on the generator. I looked confused. Your generator has a camera? It's like an iPhone. See, I told you guys. Every time someone accesses it, it snaps an HD photo. Does this guy lace everything with cameras? Am I flushing the toilet with the handle and having a selfie of my ass taken every other hour? Still, thankfully pretty convenient. I'm gonna take a look at it later. But for now, I still had shit to do. First things first, gotta check the perimeter. The walls seemed to be intact, thankfully, confirming my suspicion that we weren't besieged by Tim and his skeleton army last night. The gate showed that it was closed ever since I had it stay shut. And finally, the barbed wire. But, well, that's where things got odd. A portion of the barbed wire was noticeably missing. I knew it was, before I even had the thought that it was the razor wire. Several feet of barbed wire was just gone. Moreover, when I went out, rifle in hand, naturally, to check, the 2 floodlights were out as well. This is bad. An alarm should have been tripped when these 2 went off. And if something got that close and ripped off the fucking wire, I rushed back to the security room with a reasonable amount of paranoia. The fucking skeleton, god damn it, I knew it was a fucking distraction. I fucking knew it. I slipped into the chair and checked the footage. Initially, I thought nothing wrong. Like I said, no motion detectors went off, no alarms, nothing. Maybe I was wrong about Tim. The left side camera showed nothing wrong during my whole interrogation of the science room prop. But then, at 3:25 a.m., one of the floodlights flickered and went off. Then the adjacent one to its left. Then its right. A 5-foot wide segment of wall just gone. Done. Like all that bullshit tech just went right out the window. And I say that because the motion detectors were still on. They didn't pick up what happened next. From the light still beaming from within the house, you could barely see the gap in the light. Remember when I said it was darkness? Like drowning and suffocating darkness? I wasn't kidding. No city light, no suburban light. It went from a dim spot as the light went off to pitch black. A pitch black strip. Could barely even see the top of the wall above the broken floodlights. And when I did? Well, for context, when a body becomes bloated in water, the skin looks incredibly soaked. The flesh looks mushy. That's the kind of flesh I saw. A sickly gray or silver hand. Fingernails, but not black. I did recognize the wounds. The vessel's broken underneath the nails. Bloody. The thing reached over and plucked the barbed wire off. Literally, shit plucked off. And before I knew it, the other end too. God knows how long of a segment of barbed wire was simply snapped off. Not a goddamn thing after that. Just blank footage showing the dark area. Slowly until the sun rose. What the fuck? Not only did this shit just bypass all of the alarms, it could have just waltzed in here. This could have happened when I was out cold asleep. This is bad. Criminally fucking bad. Absolutely catastrophically fucked. We need to get the fuck out of here. A malfunction happened. Sometimes, due to all the power, some of the bulbs just aren't ready and zap out. Just get some of those extra strength ones and replace the... Dude, a fucking hand reached out. Some ghoulish motherfucker just walked right up to your billion-dollar compound and ripped the barbed wire used on military compounds like it was fucking nothing. Oh, you're overreacting, Dwight. You're underreacting. It wasn't the fear that drove me. I knew we were safe, for now. Whatever it was, it liked to keep to nightfall. But we needed to get the fuck out of this place. Dwight, the middle-aged man, took off his glasses, brushing back his black but slowly graying hair as he looked at me. What do I pay you for? Oh, this motherfucker. Security, I gruffed. Well, obviously, this is a security situation. I paid you a pretty handsome sum up front to come out here and protect this place. You've done your job pretty well so far, but it seems to me like this little malfunction is a security situation. Take care of it. I contemplated calling a cab and flying back to Chicago right then and there. Right then, right fucking there. However, whatever was out there was just prodding the defenses, testing morale, trying to see what the fuck we were made of. What I was made of. A wiser man would have gone back to civilization, bought a hotel room, and just got somewhere out of the woods. While I might not be a wiser man, I am sure as shit a bold man. Brighter bulbs were going to do the trick? Fine. I spent the better part of a few hours unscrewing, replacing, and rescrewing all of the floodlights. All fucking 48 of them. Let's just say I spent the day rewiring the walls and assessing the integrity of the motion trackers. And when night came, I sat in the security room, eyes glued to the monitors, waiting. Just fucking waiting for something to happen. 9 goddamn hours of darkness. 6 goddamn magazines loaded with hollow point rounds for my rifle. Not a single fucking move from the outside for 2 nights. Whatever it was, it fucked with my head the first time. I made a mental note. The second time, I wouldn't be so prudent. Regardless, I couldn't sit in the compound forever. I still had a job to do. A storm would be rolling in the next few days or so. A small one, less regional and more statewide. But it was still going to be a downpour. That meant ensuring no one was fucking about on the trail or the property. I've already seen this fucking place in the day and it was goddamn weird. Imagine being stuck in a monsoon with these fuckers? I was less being a dick to campers and more doing people a favor. You know what? It felt good to be on the ATV though. The wind in my face, the sun in the sky. Whether it was the courage of knowing I had a pretty good bit of firepower on my back, or just knowing that whatever the shit was, it wasn't brave enough to fuck with anyone in the daytime. Either way, it felt good to zip down the trail. To be fair, if you patrol enough, you tend to learn some of the landmarks. Even in the forest, it really helps not to get lost. Giant oak, short cliff, set of trees dominoing into each other, large rock pointing upward, fox den, Native American, eagle. Wait, what? I slammed on my fucking brakes just as the ATV came over a small ramp. It flew a second before slamming into the ground and braking. Hard. I looked back and gazed at the spot where I passed him. Tan guy, sort of bracelet with what I'm gonna guess are talons maybe? War paint across his eyes, head shaved except for the mohawk, eagle feathers. I remember him as clear as fucking day, because my mind got a really good sip of him. Then I realized that the Native Americans around here were moved to Oklahoma a few hundred years ago. I looked back. Nothing. Nothing except a smoke pillar just in the distance, right behind where the guy should have been. Son of a bitch. I took out my rifle and worked the bolt and ready to round. Not this time. Fuck that. I crept through the grass. Right around the corner from a large rock formation was a small smoke pillar. It was just to the right of the trail, and while it wasn't technically on the property, it was also ordered by the local government that all of the campers were to get the fuck out of the woods before the rain hit. I walked around the bend, keeping my crouching stance, and I saw a campsite. Who in the actual fuck is camping out here? What in the actual fuck would a camper be doing out here? I approached the campsite from the side. Didn't have much. A tent, a cooking pot, a bag hanging to keep bears away. Except there were no bears around these parts. I approached the tent, looking at the inside flap, a sleeping bag, with someone in it. Hey, I gave my best cop voice. The bag shifted, but no answer. Excuse me? Some muttering. Probably from a male, and the person inside the bag adjusted. I sighed and grabbed the top part of the sleeping bag and pulled it open. The person jolted out. I could see a man, young, tannish hunter-looking guy with a full beard. Possibly mid-30s maybe? What? Oh, hey, he said enthusiastically. He bolted upright as you can be in a tent. I kept my gun shoulder but kept the barrel low. You're on private property, sir. I've been saying that a lot now. No one seems to get the memo. Private property? Wait, you're not... People live here? Yeah? Oh, thank God! He quickly pulled up his pants. Then I realized I was talking to a half-naked guy. Before he started to clean and pack up things at an almost inhuman speed. I've been out here for a while. You should see this place. Beautiful, scenic. He zipped up his bag, and that's when I realized that he had already started to get his tent packed up, but also dangerous. I looked around. Yeah, I'm aware. The man shoved his tent into the bag and started to tie the sides into the main pack. So, stranger, you live near here? Is there a town? Civilization? Got any food? Yeah, there's a town just down the road a few miles. Thank God, I've been out here for what feels like months. Yeah, well, camping will... Wait, months? Yeah, probably just weeks, though. Time passes. You got the date? Out here? I pointed to the ground. Yeah, noticeably, strangely, not southern. More of a Bostonian mixed with a trucker. How? I asked, pretty genuinely intrigued. Like, you know what's out? Yeah, pretty fucked if I'm gonna be honest. Say, did you see the two naked guys leapfrogging over each other? My stunned silence was more than enough to answer him. Yeah, kinda weird. I know it's summer and it's all warm and stuff, but this really isn't the environment to be going full nudist. Look, man, you really need to get the fuck out of these woods. Ha! He laughed. You're telling me, hey, can I stay at your house? No, this is private property. Come on, man. I've been stuck out here with shit that makes me want to hug a bear at night. I rubbed my temples. Look, just head left up the trail, and when you reach a gravel road, you'll be near the main road. Turn right, then get into town. He let out this inexplicably long sigh. Fine. Then I realized his entire campsite was already packed up. Before he left, I stopped him. Wait, he turned. How have you been surviving at night in a measly tent? He scratched his head and shrugged. I don't know. The guys out here probably have a bigger target. He left down the trail, and a pit formed in my gut. A bigger target? No time to think about that. I can't get freaked out. Not now, at least. I don't have enough time, nor the place. I drove down the trail a little bit further. Sadly, Animal Man wasn't there. But something did catch my eye. I hit the brakes on my ATV, coming to a stop on the straightaway. I was down to the left side of the property line, the western side. From here, there was a slight cliff to where you could see over some of the trees. Sadly, I couldn't really stop to see the sights. It wasn't the plant life that caught my eye, it wasn't the endless greenery. It was the red and yellow cap dead center of the trail. That's what stopped me. Now, even this deep in the woods, which are apparently taboo to the point of no real campers, you still find trash, litter. Hell, I found a Mr. Pibb bottle that they stopped selling years ago. But I've never, in the 4 or so weeks here, seen clothing. Especially mint condition clothing. I mean, this deep in the woods, surely whoever dropped it would have gotten dirt on it or something. But no. I stepped off the ATV, rifle now in its sling. I can't take risks anymore. I picked it up. It was pretty small. I checked the size and felt some dread wash over me. Kids. Small. What the fuck was a kid doing out here? I looked for any sort of name tag. The next thing I hear, hey! I nearly jumped out of my own fucking skin. I drew my pistol and aimed for what was behind me. Then I fucking sighed. It was the fucking skeleton. I would like to thank all of the lovely patrons listed on screen. We lost a couple, but it's to be expected. At the beginning of the year, people have their stuff to take care of. I completely understand. And if you would like to join, please head to the Patreon down below. Pretty please. Pretty please. Dan R, Chaos X, JY, Pyromancer, Hayden MH, Ethan A, Daniel H, Maximilian Charles P, Go Cute Puppy LLC, Young Sykes, and Dark Side of the Bear. Guys, thank you so much.